kindergarten? All right, come on, class 5. You're big in the bar, right? Who are these people? You're the best teachers in the world? All right, you're going to work. I'm glad you're here. This is going to be fun. This is my first. Who's going first?
I'd just like to say welcome to all of you to this momentous occasion. And I have a special child here, Henry. They're all special. However, we have one child who's going to present Governor Shumlin with something. Get down here.
Come on down there.
Yeah, come on down. You're down here. All right, now, remember you're going to tell us how you grew this.
That was me. This one. It's son of Terry me.
Thank you so much. Do I get to put this in my purse?
Yes.
Hey, where you going? Now, how many tomatoes do you have left in the garden? Lots? Hey, thank you so much. Thank you to Barbara Tomasi Gay, the principal of this great school. Smilie, actually, it's your second year, right?
Second year.
Yeah. John Albertini, our superintendent, thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome to the happiest school in America.
Smilie students, you are why we are here. You are why we're working so hard. Let's give you a hand for being the best students. I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves so you students know who's here today, because it's a big deal. So we're going to start with your two representatives, Rebecca Ellis and Tom Stevens. Take it away, Rebecca.
All right, well, I'm Rebecca Ellis. I'm one, along with Representative Stevens. We represent Bolton at the legislature.
And I'm Representative Tom Stevens, who would Representative Ellis represent your town, as well as Huntington and Waterbury down in Montpelier.
And you all went down to the State House, right? Visited and saw how laws are made?
Who's on the stage, did
Oh, yeah, you all went down. Fantastic. Did you see Tom and Tom? Did you see Rebecca and Tom when they were down there? Sorry. I think Tom missed school that day.
I'm Representative Scott Beck. I'm from St. Johnsbury. I'm a school teacher, and I'm also on the House Education Committee.
I'm Representative Emily Long. I'm from Newfane, and I'm also on House Education Committee.
I'm Representative Larry Quigley from Rutland City. I also serve on the House Education Committee.
I'm Senator Ann Cummings from Washington County, which goes as far as Waterbury, right next door, and I chair the Senate Education Committee.
Hi, I'm Representative Dave Sharp from Bristol. I'm the chair of the House Education Committee.
Hi, I'm Representative Bernie Jusquith from Cambridge Waterville, and I'm vice chair of the Education Committee.
Good morning, Tim German, representative from Essex Junction, House Education.
I'm Phil Baruth. I'm the majority leader in the Vermont Senate, and I'm one of your state senators.
Rebecca Holcombe, the Secretary of Education.
I'm Stephen Morris, also from Newfane. There's two of us from Newfane here, and I chair the State Board of Education.
Lachlan Francis from Putney. I'm a student at the University of Vermont and former student representative to the Vermont State Board of Education.
Hi, I'm Andrew Pond. I chair the Bolton School Board and also vice chair of the new Modified Union District Board.
Hi kids,
I'm Sarah Copeland-Hansis. I represent Bradford, Fairleigh, and West Fairleigh. My kids went to Bradford Elementary, and I gotta say, you guys have a pretty cool school here. I like this place.
Hi, I'm Kate Webb from Shelburne. I am the assistant majority leader and a retired special educator, and I actually worked in this school about 26 years ago.
I'm Representative Joey Donovan from Burlington, and I'm a former member of the Education Committee.
I'm John Aldry, the superintendent here at Bolton and Chittenden East, and the new Mount Mansfield Modified School District.
I'm John Malazzo. I'm the new chair of the Mount Mansfield Modified Union School Board, and I'm also chair of the Chittenden East Supervisory Union, and I'm in my last month as chair of the Richmond School Board.
All right.
So thank you all for coming out, boys and girls. Really appreciate you being here. And that I blessing for our school officials, our representatives as well, who all the hard work you've done to get us to this place where we are today. So I want to express our appreciation to everyone.
I'm Barbara Tomasi, principal of Smilie. I'm Julia Dunn. I attend Mansfield Union High School as a senior currently, and I've been on the MMU school board and MMU school board for 2 years now.
And Julia graduates next week, right?
Yes.
You got your cap down, ready to
Yes.
rock.
It's in the
All right,
book.
ready to go. And I'm Pete Shumlin, Governor of the great state of Vermont. The best job you can ever have in elected office. I want all of you to run, particularly the girls here. We've only had one woman governor in Vermont, so we need more women governors. Yeah. Tell you how thrilled I am to be here with all the colleagues that made this bill possible. I think this is the biggest group of legislators and government folks, board members, students that have come together in the bill signings that I can remember, because this bill is really going to make a difference. What's it all about? We're at Smilie today because, let's be honest about this, your student count has been dropping over the years. A small elementary school, extraordinary school. We want to do the best for you, the students, to make sure you got a bright future in Vermont, but it was losing students. And the data shows that we weren't getting all the results that we wished. So what happened? The community came together and they said, we're struggling right now to keep the doors open because of the challenges that we're facing. What can we do collectively as a community to ensure that Smilie has a bright future? And guess what? Chittenden East, you all came together. You made some very tough decisions. Yeah, I'm sure you had some very controversial conversations. But what did you do? You took matters into your own hands, had a collective community conversation, and reorganized in a way that guarantees that Smilie has a bright future, and most importantly, that every one of you students from pre-K on up has a bright future in Vermont. So I just got to say, we're here because you are a shining example of what we've got to do across the state of Vermont. And I'm so honored to be here with this team that did the hard work to put this bill together. Now listen, everybody made a huge effort, but I got to give a shout out to a few. Without our chairs of education, Dave Sharp and Ann Cummings, Senator Ann Cummings, this bill would never have happened. And there are extraordinary committees that are with us that work so hard. So Dave and Ann, a special shout out to the two of you. You know, Bernie Jeskowitz and so many of you were all working together to help do a really tough job. I can't tell you how proud I am of you. Senator Phil Baruch was a voice in difficult times in the Senate. I want to thank you so much for all your leadership, majority leader. I also got to thank the folks that, many introduced themselves, but without Jeff Francis, Ken Page, Steve Dale, Nicole Mays, Martha Allen and Joel Cook at the NEA, who really wanted to be here today but couldn't. Lisa Ventris from the Vermont Business Roundtable started this conversation, had forums, got folks together. Betsy Bishop from the Chamber, my state board chair, and the entire board, but Stephen Morse, who's been an extraordinary voice of reason in this very difficult debate. Thank you, Stephen. for all the hours you put in for, what do you get, 40 bucks a day now? 50 bucks a day, $50 a day, and he's still working hard. And I gotta give a special shout out to, I feel like I'm the luckiest governor because I've got the best Secretary of Education in America, Rebecca Holcombe. My fifth floor dog on education who makes magic happen, Allie Richards, highest. Born in Bradford, went to Brown, just like Rebecca, and highest GPA in the history of Oxbow High School. That's right. Isn't that right, Allie? She always tells me. That's what you all should aspire to. Listen, I want to be as brief as I can because you all are standing, right? You don't want to hear a lot of long speeches, do you? Raise your hand if you want a long speech. This bill is so critically important because in the last 20 years, Vermont school system has lost 20,000 students. 20 years, we've lost 20,000 students in a teeny little state. There was no significant reconfiguration of our education system as happened here in Chittenden East. Other communities haven't joined up in big numbers. We have a 4.7 to 1 staff-student ratio, the highest per pupil spending in America, and the lowest class size in the country. 20% of Vermont's elementary school classrooms have between 2 and 9 students in them. Infrastructure, as we all know, has been too large, and without change, we can't guarantee every one of you the best educational quality that we can deliver. And we cannot guarantee your parents that their property taxes won't continue to rise faster than they can pay the bills. That's what this is all about. So what this group of legislators, together with the education community across Vermont and with so many Vermonters have done, is to change the conversation with this bill, to take out the disincentives that stand in the way of smart choices like Smilie has made and Chittenden East has made, and instead to promote, in a partnership with the state of Vermont, an unprecedented partnership that will allow more communities to come together, to get real data that will tell them not only where they're going, not only how they're doing, but where they're going, so that the Secretary and the State Board can literally sit down with you now and say, this is where you are now, but if you think your property taxes are high today, look where you'll be in 5 years, because this will be your student count. Look where you'll be in 10 years, because it'll even be worse if you don't change. This is where your student count will be. Together, we want to partner with you to make the right choices, not only for your pocketbooks, but for our kids. And that's what this bill is really all about. So, what do we do? How do we get there? It removes contradictory incentives in the formula that will discourage smart choices. If by 2019, districts, communities don't change, don't make the changes like Chittenden East has, it gives the State Board of Education and the Secretary of Education the ability to take some action in a small percentage of cases where communities don't do what Chittenden East did and make the right choices for their kids. And in the short term, it does add some spending restraints to immediately give Vermont's property taxpayers some relief. I gotta say that in my judgment, this bill is the smartest collaborative effort to build a partnership that's gonna do right for Vermont kids that I've seen pass the legislature in recent memory. I think this bill is much bigger than people think. It's going to lead to the change in our education system that's been evading us. It will, in the long run, reduce costs, but most importantly, I think it's going to guarantee every student in Vermont, every student here at Smilie, and every student across the state, a brighter future. What this is really about is how do we take a great education system for Vermont and make it work for every single student. What are we getting wrong, and what are we getting right? We're getting right that Vermont has the highest high school graduation rate in America. And joining Julia Dunn at graduation this spring will be more students graduating from high school in this state than in any other state in America. That's a big deal. We got to be proud of that. What we're getting wrong is not enough of those students move beyond high school. And in this workforce, if you don't get some training beyond high school, you're destined to a low-wage job in almost all likelihood for life. So particularly now, this bill is more important than ever. Vermonters have been crying out for change. The legislature and we have come together and delivered change. I'm incredibly proud to be here today to sign this bill. But before we do, I want to let a few other folks say hello. And we're going to start with our hosts, the superintendent of this district, John Halpini. John, take it away.
So on the line of cooperation, I felt like Smilie is a perfect backdrop and site for the signing of this bill. Not maybe for some of the reasons that others might think, like in the bill, and I think in the legislative session, folks clearly stated they're in support of small schools, and the fact that Bolton and Smilie really paved their own path in a unification. But I was principal here about 10 years ago, and we had coined a phrase during that time that I shared in the beginning, which was, Smilie is the happiest school in America. After a few months as principal, I realized why. You could walk around the building and you could watch parents and community members and staff interacting with students, and there was empathy, compassion, cooperation, and love for the people in the building and in the community. And the cooperation piece is what I want to key in on. I want to thank the legislature. As somebody that followed the bill very closely over the past year and the past several years as we looked at school reform and governance, it's apparent to me that this was a bipartisan bill that came out of compromise and cooperation and people trying to solve problems. And I think for our students and for Vermont, that's just a terrific example. As we're bombarded in the media with inertia in Washington and gridlock, I think this is a great example of how we can get things done. So thank you very much. Thank you so much, Governor, for selecting Smilie to sign the bill, and I think it's just the perfect place to do it.
Thank you, John. Your principal, you want to say anything? You're okay? You're all good?
I'm great. I'm so happy you're here.
So we often hear from governors and from legislators and adults. I don't think we hear enough from students about why this is important. So, Julia, if you're willing to come up here, she is a member of the Mount Mansfield School Board, Chittenden East School Board, and thank you so much. Congratulations on your graduation coming up. Thanks for being here. Say anything you want. Just give Julia a hand.
I just want to say that I feel very lucky to have gone through these MMU school district through my education. I want to encourage all of you that when you get to the high school to participate in student government, because that's how you make a difference. And I do feel that such an important thing to do in our state is to involve students in education reforms and in education. The schools that I do know that have students on their school boards are very happy about that. And when I speak with students from student government around the state, and I realize that they don't have students on their school board, I hear about so many things that could be clarified within their student body if they did have a representative. At least once a month, once a week, I am approached by a peer and I am asked, what is this? And it's something that I can answer because I'm on the school board, and I think it's just an incredible opportunity for students to learn about their education and for educators and school board members to learn about the school. So, thank you.
say a couple words. Come on up.
Thank you for letting us come and share this day with you. If you haven't figured out by all the people that are here and all the people that have been thanked, this was a team effort. I have Senator Baruch with me today, but there are 4 other members of my committee. There are 6 of us, and it was teamwork to put this bill together. Last year, the bill didn't make it through the Senate. It took time and effort, and I'm not going to tell you it was always easy. We had a couple of very loud sessions, I think the people that were there could attest to. But it was always friendly, it was always cooperative, and I think in the end, we did a good bill. And our hope is that this bill will enable other schools to take a realistic look at their future in the face of declining enrollments, which are going to continue to decline. And as Smilie has, and all these schools in Chittenden East, to take a look at your future and then take control of your future before it's too late and your future takes control of you. So we're hoping that that's a good thing. It's the same kind of thing we ask of you, is to think about your future and to take control of that and to think about where you want to go. So I'd like to thank my whole committee and everyone else that's been involved, this whole cast of characters and most of the audience, because it was very definitely a team effort. Thank you.
Thank you for all you do for Washington County. When we are here in Washington County, it's home plate for Senator Cummings. She does an extraordinary job in the Senate. Oh, next door, right? We're just a little bit up. Yeah, that's your chicken. Well, we're close. You can
I almost got
How many miles is it away? 4 miles? Yeah, close enough. So, tell your parents, Washington County. Dave Sharp, Chair of the Education Committee. Everyone happy without you. Thank you so much.
So I'd like to start by thanking everybody who's here, and especially my teammates on the House Education Committee and across the building in the Senate Education Committee. This would not have happened if it hadn't been for the cooperation of the House and the Senate, Republicans and Democrats, educators and advocates across the state who put their 2 cents in, and we developed a bill that will be good for this state. I have a vision for excellent education for all of our Vermont children with a robust public education system. That system starts with leadership. Our own Governor Shumlin appointed an outstanding Secretary of Education, leader in Secretary Holcombe. The legislature stepped up by putting in place a process where communities like this one can right-size our school districts for the 21st century. Many of these school districts will wipe away conflicting lines of responsibility and accountability, allowing voters a more direct say in the tax rates in their communities and allowing for the fostering of great leadership in our superintendents and principals. There is much left to do in the areas of licensing, special education, and reducing red tape so that schools and teachers and principals are free to deliver the quality education we need and that they have a passion to deliver. So thank you for being here today, and I look forward to signing this bill.
I just want to give my secretary and board chair a brief hello. Take it away. First, who's going first? This is Steve Morris, Chair of the State Board of Education.
Thank you, Governor. If you notice that all the other former speakers today came up with notes. I don't have any notes because I was just asked to speak. But I have no problem speaking on this issue. I have a real passion about this. For those of you that don't know me, I've been involved in public policy, public service issues for 30, 40 years. I think today is historic. I don't think anything more important that I've seen in my career that's more important than what is happening today. Creating a new possibilities of a new governance structure for the state of Vermont educational system is extremely, extremely important. Those of you that know the bill understand that there's really 2 sections. There's one on governance, one on finance. I think in the end, yes, this bill will save the state of Vermont and provide a more equitable educational financial system. But more important, from the State Board of Education point of view, this bill will provide equal educational opportunities statewide. We don't have it now, and we're going to get it with this bill. The last time that the state of Vermont looked at their school governance system was 1893, when we went from 3,300 school districts down to a little less than 300. That'll just help you put this in perspective of how historic this is today. This is extremely important for improving our educational system in Vermont. I'm grateful for the work of the administration, the governor's office, and the legislature for what they've done. As a native Vermonter, I understand how difficult these decisions are, but I can tell you and assure you that there's nothing more important for us to get this worked out to make Vermont an even better state. Thank you.
Rebecca Holcombe, take it away.
So try to be brief. Thank you all, first of all, for coming today. I came here a couple months ago to the swearing in of the new school board for the new unified district, and a student I met on the way in told me that when I asked him, what took so long, he said, well, we knew it needed to happen. The students knew it needed to happen. They didn't understand what took the adults so long. And I just thought I'd put that out there. We ought to involve the students more often, Julia. Clearly, we can get down to the important business right away. I had the privilege of spending the morning here meeting with educators, meeting with students, and learning about the work that they've been doing over the last year. And I want to offer out just 3 takeaways for those who are listening and maybe considering adventures like this in the interest of improving what they do with their kids. The first was the importance of relationships. Education is a relationship business, and this comes down at the end of the day to our ability to work with each other, to share ideas, and to roll our sleeves up, to leave behind how we've done things to work together to create better opportunities for our kids. And I just was so impressed by the consistent commitment to that in everybody I've spoken to in this area. The other that was so profound was that this merger, they don't call it a merger, they call it unification. This unification has freed them to focus on what matters. And the kinds of conversations that people are having here aren't about logistics the way, and they aren't about duplication of effort. They're about how do we do the best we can for the kids. And what I got the sense is that there's this pent-up passion in the educators in the system to really take their time and focus on what they can do for children in the classroom and building those relationships between kids. And what's been so powerful is the way you have managed to both target your resources where they matter the most, but also how you've been able to free your attention to pay attention to the priorities for the children. And the last that came out again and again was that what you have done here is you have created a shared responsibility, pre-kindergarten through 12, for every child. You are responsible for the progress and the learning and the growth and development of all your children at every site, all the way from the beginning of the system to the end. It's not about those kids, it's not about other people's kids, it's about your kids. And that profound sense of responsibility and expectation is what is really making a difference in this district. And it's such an impressive thing. And with that, I will point out that there are actually 2 governors in this room. And Governor Ed Longstride has told me that he's an important marathon to get there. So I'm going to thank you so much.
So you all have been so good, standing there patiently, no one's fainted. You all got to come down here and stand behind us when we sign this bill. Will you do that? Come down the stairs and come down here. We're going to all come together. Tall ones in the back, short ones in front. Come on down. Come on, bring in the end.
We can see.
Come on, everybody. It's good to see you out there.